goes. Okay, so you are part of the UltraMAP monitoring team, I believe. And my name's Mike, and I'm the guy who works with the founders of the business, Martin and Des, to try and understand more about what the whole of the business does, and to help to tell the UltraMAP story and the asset monitor story. And today, I've been given the opportunity to spend just a few minutes, 5 or 10 minutes with you lot, some of the monitoring team. So, anybody, and when I say anybody, of course, either everybody's going to speak or nobody's going to speak. So I'll try this and see what happens. Tell me about what it's like to be part of the UltraMAP monitoring team, please. Anyone? Right, I'm going to say a name. Michelle, tell me what it's like to be part of the UltraMAP monitoring team, please. How does it feel? Why do you come in every day? Tell me about all the good stuff.
All right. What it's like working in the UltraMAP monitoring team. For me, it takes a lot of patience, understanding, and open communication. I say patience and understanding. It's because we need to be more patient as we closely monitor the cables and the vessel movements before we take any actions. And also patience and understanding with the team, because in the line of work we have, we are always battling with decision making. And with that, we need first to weigh situation before we take any action. And sometimes the decision making of my teammates is not favorable into my decision making. So I need to be open with their ideas and suggestion, because in the first place, what we are doing is not to be more intelligent with each other, but to monitor the cables and prevent any cable damage. And lastly is open communication. It's because as we keep the world connected and the people connected, we just don't keep the world and the people connected. Most importantly, we need to stay connected with the team, should stay connected during this pandemic, as it's not that easy to tap a person to disseminate an information, especially because we cannot see face to face. So everyone should stay open, and if possible, should stay online, especially during work.
Okay, so you just mentioned there, Michelle, a tiny little sentence, but I'm going to ask you about this, Regine. So Michelle said that what you lot are doing is keeping the world connected. That's a scary thing. How do you manage yourself, Regine, because it's an important thing that you do. Tell me about this keeping the world connected bit of what the UltraMAP and the UltraMAP monitoring team do, please. How does that feel?
Yeah, actually, it's a bit challenging working in UltraMAP, keeping the world connected. By that word, keeping the world connected, it's really a big responsibility. However, there's a lot of things to celebrate. So we actually reduce and sometimes make some clients, the cable breaks become zero. So with that, since we know that our internet is already running through subsea cable, so by preventing cable damage, we are actually keeping our world running, especially in this strange time that we are living in.
Sure.
And it's quite vital. So even though it's challenging, I feel very fulfilled because of what we do.
And as Michelle suggested, it takes patience, and because you are an always on solution, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're every day of the year, aren't you? That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Ellie, I'm going to ask you a question. The monitoring team that you work with, how is it, Ellie, that everybody, tell me about them, tell me about the teamwork, tell me about how they work together and how you all work towards becoming better and better all the time, Ellie? I know that's a tricky question, but what would you say about that? How do you do that? How do you help each other to improve? What do you do?
Well, we communicate together, and then we share our experience during monitoring, and then we advise the team members who like miss something. We just kind of like yeah, to just share the experience or give advice, and yeah.
And on that subject, the monitoring team, Liesl, your job title is operations manager, is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. How long has the team been around, Liesl?
I'm sorry?
How long has the team been established? How long has the monitoring team for UltraMAP been around?
All right. So, well, the monitoring team started with one person, and that's me. So, and I've been working with the team for 4 years. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's 4 years.
Okay, cool. So I guess you're the most experienced in the team currently, is that right?
I'd like to believe so. Yes.
I suppose in terms of time being there.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And then it's grown quite rapidly over 4 years, because the monitoring team is, as I understand it, is one of the newer offerings within the overall UltraMAP offering. Asset Monitor, Asset Monitor being the flagship software, the monitoring team, the guard vessels. It seems that slowly but surely, going back to Michelle's point about patience, the UltraMAP offer is broadening out so that you can protect more and more different types of customer. Can you, with your crystal ball, because you've all got a crystal ball, the future for UltraMAP, how is it going to develop, do you think? You know, going back to what Ellie's saying, you all learn from each other. If we look forward to 2022, 2023, what are the biggest challenges? What are the biggest opportunities? This is a big question now. What are the challenges and opportunities what are the challenges and the opportunities that you're going to face in the future, do you think, please?
Well, I think as we continue to grow, these subsea cables, the land or the seabed that they are running on is limited, and in the future, the UltraMAP's goal would want to be to protect all the subsea cables in the world. And right now, if you would see it physically, the subsea cables around the world, it's a spaghetti of cables, you know, and it would be a challenge for us if UltraMAP will get to monitor all of these cables, because they are parallel with each other, they're overlapping with each other, and it will come to a challenge to us. I think for the future of UltraMAP, I'm hoping that as we grow, there would be along with my shift managers will also grow into their careers, and that they will be able to oversee a team of their own as well. And this team would then have, I would envision that this team would be the ones to be in charge in monitoring the subsea cables of this part of the world in Asia, and then this team would be overseeing the subsea cables in Middle East. You know, that there will be divisions among UltraMAP and among the different departments of UltraMAP. So yeah, I'm hoping that as we grow, we would be monitoring all the subsea cables of the world.
And on that subject of the business growing, you brought us onto the subject of territories and geographies there. Can you tell me, either Michelle or Regina or Ellie or anybody, the types of customers, the categories of customers? So we've talked about oil and gas in the past, and the people who actually lay the cables. What types of customers are you working with at the moment? Can you tell me? Can you shed any light on that, anyone, please? What about you, Regina? I'm going to look. You can't tell who I'm looking at, but I know you guys are wrapped up in the day-to-day protection. But do you get close to thinking about the category of the customers that you're looking after, or do you just come in and monitor things? I don't know. Tell me about that.
Yeah, of course, we are aware what kind of customers we have. So at the moment, on my knowledge, what we have are those who have telecommunications cable, which very vital. And we also have monitoring power cables owned by different companies, and maybe in the future, oil and gas. I mean pipelines. Yes,
Okay.
that's. it's important to know them because, of course, sometimes if I mean, we encounter different situations. It's a plus if when you know what you are monitoring, so that you can emphasize to, for example, for the vessel masters, what is the importance of that cable for it not to break. For it not to be damaged.
Sure. Now it's interesting because when I'm chatting to Martin and Des about this, I'm constantly learning not only about the new types of customers you're picking up, but also, as you've all mentioned at various times to me, the costs of a cable strike, not just because of the discontinuation of the service, but the actual dollar price of repair. It's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I was chatting to Liesl about the responsibility of that. I'm going to touch on it again. So Michelle, how long have you been part of the monitoring team, please?
3 years and 7 months.
Okay.
I'm turning 4 years this September, so yeah.
When you, I mean, and as someone's mentioned today, in many areas that you work, you've reduced cable strikes to zero. There are just no cable strikes. But Michelle, I wanted to ask, when you got onto the subject of the implications of a cable strike, does it feel scary? I mentioned to Liesl, does it make us go kind of wide-eyed and worried about, oh my goodness, if this thing is subject to a cable strike, it's quite impactful, isn't it, when things, you know, don't go right? So thankfully it's very rare with UltraMAP, but did that not make you feel nervy at the beginning? How did you feel about that?
Well, if a cable strikes happened, of course I won't be there. I won't be happy, and I would be sad. But I'm not really that nervous because I know that when a cable strikes happen, I know that the monitoring did their best. Though sometimes we admit that we missed something, but it's not that much. So basically, we if possible we don't really miss a thing. So if there is a culprit, if we can see a culprit that causes the cable break, we are confident that we have intervened the vessel. We are confident that we have intervened enough, but we always we always give this space that we can still do better with that intervention. And also, when we monitor a cables, we are not looking with what client we have, or with, it's very important to know that what types of cable we are monitoring. Yes, it's very important. It's very important to know the category of the client, but we are not really looking into it. So basically, we are not after on what cables we are monitoring. What we are after is preventing whichever cable is that. Just making sure that we did our best. So though it's kind of scary knowing that there's a cable break, but we are confident enough that we intervene a vessel in case we see one culprit. But in most cases, I'm proud to say that if a cable break happened, we haven't encountered any vessel that, if if I remember correctly, we haven't encountered any vessel that caused the cable break, which we did not intervene. In most cases, we really do intervene.
And the way that you communicate with the vessels, that must be quite important, because when I listen to you all, you don't come across as policing or telling people off. It's a relationship, it seems to me. They value you, and you understand that these people have to go about their business, you know, the fishing vessels, etc. Do you all kind of get along? Is it okay the way you're communicating with these vessels most of the time? How does that go? Anybody?
Yeah, I think I mean, we have certain ways to communicate with vessels. For example, like we send emergency messages direct to the vessels, and we send emails and make voice calls to vessel operators. And of course, occasionally we need to contact the Coast Guard maritime authorities, vessel agents, and vessel insurance companies. So we have certain ways. I mean, you know, from what we can do at first, like contact the vessel direct to the emergency messages, and sometimes when we have no other means to contact the vessel directly, sometimes we ask for assistance to maritime coast guard and vessel agent and vessel insurance companies.
And most of the time, does it feel, this is just me imagining, I couldn't do what you do, I don't think. I think I'd panic. I'd go, oh my goodness, you know, this might happen or that might happen. But Regine, is the tone of the relationship, sorry, the tone of the conversations that you have, is it controlled by you? Do you keep things calm and controlled and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so apart from, apart from our main role protecting subsea cables, we make sure that we maintain good relationship. So I believe having good relationship with operators, maritime authorities, organizations, it will really help. So by doing that, what we actually are doing is, of course, making sure that we are polite, that we are friendly. I mean, in the industry, it's very help. I mean, it's very um, I mean, it would be there would be a smooth, what do you call this? The flow of our work will be smooth if there is a cooperation. So, and I am proud to say that yes, we did, and we already established good relations with most. Although we cannot deny that some are getting us negatively, but we always make sure to let them understand what we do, and in the end we gain their trust, and yeah, everything goes smoothly.
Okay, good. Well, a last word from you then, Liesel. Let me think. What shall I ask you? So I'm going to ask you about, because you've been part of the team longer than anybody else. It's about the biggest challenge that you face. I'm going to talk for another 5 seconds so you can have a think. So the biggest challenges, or the biggest challenge that the team faces, I don't know if you're able to sum that up, the UltraMAP and the asset monitor software. I'm just wondering if there's something more than anything else that takes your energy and your focus, or is it all calm and in control and you're just looking after the world?
Well, there are really days that the vessel activities that we are monitoring or we are observing over our computer monitors is something that is beyond our control. So, well, all vessels have AIS transmitters so that we could see them on all in one person, that we can monitor them. But there are some vessels that do not have these AIS transmitters, so that is one challenge that we face, that we are not able to monitor them. These things happen. It's beyond our control, and if we cannot monitor these vessel behaviors from vessels that do not have AIS transmitters, then it's difficult. It's a bit difficult for us to take action.
Is this quite rare that this happens?
Yes, it is quite rare. It is quite rare. It is quite rare, and on the days that we observe, or on days that something like this happens, or when it's too quiet, it's really difficult to gauge if is it really quiet because of the weather, or is it quiet because some vessels are not transmitting their AIS. We're not like weather forecasters, or
Okay. You can't predict the weather.
Yeah, we can't predict the weather. We can
Okay. Yeah, that's sorted.
So that's a challenge for us.
So the unpredictable. I think it's interesting listening to you, because whilst you're really good at learning from each other and identifying patterns, and I spoke to Liesel in another video about developing almost a sixth sense where you can start to see how a vessel might move. Some things you've just got no chance with, and of course one of them is the weather. You just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. Listen, whilst we were talking, sometimes the sound went a little bit wobbly, but it won't matter, because I think we're going to put closed captions and subtitles on these so people can understand what we were all saying. But I'm very grateful for you taking the time to chat with me today. I hope you've got somebody watching vessels whilst you're chatting to me, have you?
Yes.
Yes, of course, we have.
Right then.
We
Well,
have a lot of eyes everywhere.
okay, great stuff. All right, well, thank you very much, and I'll chat to you all again soon.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Michael.
Michael.
Bye.
Bye.